What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Concrete Edge right here on Deco-Crete TV. My name's Jeff, and today's episode is all about stamped concrete borders. We're going to show you some must-have tools as well as go over a few techniques that'll help your borders stand out from the rest of the pack, so stay tuned and you're going to learn all of it. So first up are the tools, and at the top of that list is gonna be an edger, and this is a non-negotiable item. If you're gonna cut borders in, you've gotta have an edger to do it. Now at the most basic level would just be something like a curb edger or something that might have a little tiny groove actually on the edger itself, but honestly, those things, you're gonna be limited to one size border and they really don't define the border that well. So what we really love are these adjustable edgers here, and now you can make this border whatever size you want, and this groove here is plenty big enough to use it to separate colors and to really define that border and make it look as good as it can. Now to go along with this edger, I do like this little groover tool here. Now this is not just a normal, 3 or 4 groover. Those things, the groove is just actually a little bit bigger than the one that's on this edger. So this little guy here just works really nice for doing the touch-ups and starting and stopping. And I always like to just have one of these on hand just to go along with this edger. So next up is gonna be this stuff here that we like to refer to as glass board, but technically this is FRP. Now, if you're local to a Deco-Crete store, you can buy this stuff pre-ripped in a variety of different sizes, and this is gonna be really helpful with separating colors as well as the stamping part, and we'll get to all that in a little bit. Now, the next thing would be a small trowel, or for that matter, just some small tools in general. And a lot of these borders are generally 8, 10, maybe 12 inches wide. And so a 16-inch wide steel trowel as well as a mag float. To me, I just hate that when it hangs out, over the border or it hits the form on the other side. So I love this little 8-inch trowel here. This thing works great for doing the finishing and working in a little bit of the color. And this little hand float here, this thing is actually 12 inches long. And so, it's a little bit longer than we'd like it to be, but this is still way better than trying to use a 16-inch mag for this part. So just a few smaller tools can be really helpful when working in the color and finishing the borders. Next up, and this isn't necessarily a tool, this is something that's just more of a supply, but some kind of really thin mill plastic. And this isn't necessarily a must-have, but it is really nice if you have the time after you get your borders all cut in and all colored the way you want, just to take this thin mill plastic, and you can just cut this right to whatever the width of your border is, and you can place it down, and now it's going to protect that border from the release powder that you're throwing in the middle while you're stamping that. And then once it's time to do the border, you can pull this plastic off and you're left with a nice trowelable surface to do any touch-ups. Now, another thing that you're gonna absolutely have to have is some sort of a stamping tool, and whether this is an actual dedicated border stamp that makes an actual pattern like bricks or cobblestone or slate or something like that, or this could just be some seamless skins. Now, personally, I like to do borders just with seamless skins. These things are pretty cost effective, and we got a variety to choose from here. So, if you own 4 or 5 different textures of these skins, well, now you can keep these in your trailer and you can create all kinds of different borders on the fly whenever you want, just with some simple texture skins. So another thing you're gonna need is some sort of a tamper for this. Again, borders generally pretty small, 8, 10 inches are pretty average, and so one of those big 16 or even 12 by 12 tampers for stamped concrete is gonna be a little bit more than you need, and this is where we really love the Border Buster tamper. This solves all those problems because this is narrow enough. This thing was purposely made to be 8 inches wide. That way you can hit the whole thing on the border and nothing where you don't want it. And if you always don't know about the Border Buster tamper, it's got so many great features that just check out the full video on this, because this thing can get used for a lot of different things, and you can stand up while you're doing this. You don't no more bending over, so this is absolutely great for borders. Now, another thing that you're gonna need towards the end of the stamping process is some sort of detail wheels, and I really like to use these. A lot of times when you stamp on both sides, both the inside of the field and then the border itself, that little groove that you made with that edger, it can tend to kind of close up a little bit from the stamping, and we're gonna need to open that back up in order to make it look really clean and finish it off. Now, you have options here. We have this little textured wheel that you can run this one through your border, and this will actually kind of give it a little bit of a hammered edge look on both sides, and some guys really like that. I personally prefer this smooth groove one, and this, you can just run this right back through there. It makes it really nice and clean. Basically, it just looks like it did after you ran the edger through it, but no matter whether it's chiseled, whether it's smooth, some sort of a roller to run back through. And that also leads me into my next thing here would be these textured groove strips. Now these are really kind of made to set down in a groove and stamp over if you're actually cutting hand joints through your concrete, but these work really good for that groove itself. So basically, instead of running that textured wheel back through it, you can put these strips back in and it'll clean and open up that groove again and give it some texture. Or if it's all seamless and there's no grout lines in the pattern, you could just put this thing right in that groove and stamp right over it, and then it won't even close up when you're stamping around it. Now, last up on the list is going to be some chisels, and I really love the textured chisels for this. And so we have these here in two different sizes. We have both 8-inch and 12-inch, and this is really nice for cutting seams. If you're using seamless texture skins to do your whole border, you're basically going to have all one big running border that's all textured the same, and it's nice to break those up into some different sections. Usually we like to make them about 3, maybe 4 feet long, and one of these little chisels here is just awesome for that. We have them both in 8-inch and 12-inch wide, so no matter what your border width is, we got one for you. And these things are also great because you can put these long extension handles on them, and now you can do all this detail work while you're standing up, and again, no more bending over. And that's our whole goal, is to try to get you guys tools in your hands that you don't have to bend over for anymore, because as we get older, we don't like bending over anymore either. So now for a few tips that we've learned over the years that make the borders turn out as good as possible. And the first one is to start cutting those borders in right away, as in even if you only have half the patio poured out, get somebody floating and somebody cutting in those borders, because if you wait too long on this, there is a lot of work that goes into these borders, and so just make sure you get to them right away so you give yourself plenty of time. And if you're doing stamp borders, especially with color hardener, it's always good to have an extra person on the job just to take care of the borders. And don't worry, the extra money you're gonna make on doing these borders will pay for that extra person plus a whole bunch more. So the next tip would be to change the color of your borders to give it more definition. And what I mean by this is if we don't change the color of it, it's just not gonna look as defined. And there's nothing wrong with this, but if you're trying to create the most high-end stamped concrete, change the color of your borders. And that leads me into my next tip, is to make sure that you use color hardener for this. And that's where that FRP board came in. And again, we have full how-to videos on all the technique part of this thing, but basically we're just gonna take this FRP board, we're gonna set it right down into that groove that we made from the edger, and now we can throw our color hardener up against that FRP board, and none of it's gonna get out into the field where we don't want it. It's gonna just confine it just to the border alone. And so that's why that FRP board is really a must-have if you're doing different color borders. And the one thing that we would not recommend for this is to just bank on stains to try to change the color of that border. Color hardener is just so much of a more longer lasting thing to do. Now, if you are gonna do this, please just use acid stain for it, because you're only gonna be able to do so much with them, but that is at least a stain that you could use that'll actually stand up to the test of time. Now, that FRP board wasn't just for separating the colors. This is also gonna be really important during the stamping process, no matter how you went about coloring the concrete. And so basically the idea is that we now have a border created, so we don't want our actual main stamp to get into that border because it's gonna mess it up. So we can just take that same FRP board, but now we're just gonna actually lay it down flat right on top of the border, and now we can run our stamps right out over it. We don't have to bend anything up or use any floppy tools or anything like that. And that FRP board is just gonna protect it from the texture and the grout lines of the stamp that you're doing in the middle. And this one we already talked about a little bit, but this is just using these chisels to break up seamless borders. And again, I see so many great looking seamless borders out there, and everything is absolutely awesome, but it's just all one running texture. And to me, this just ups the ante. This just takes it from looking like one big unrealistically laid in piece of stone or slate to now making it look like individually laid 3 or 4 foot sections of stone and slate. And to me, this is what really sets the people apart who are doing seamless borders from average to absolutely the highest end you can get. Now, last but not least, if you want to take it to the absolute highest level, because we already changed the base color of this border to separate it from the field, but we can also change the release or the antiquing color. So now we have even more contrast. It's going to make those borders stand out even more. So changing the color of not only the base, but the release takes it to the highest end possible. Well, there you have it, guys. Those are the tools and the techniques that'll not only help you get started with stamped concrete borders, but they'll also take your borders to the next level. So from all of us here at Deco-Crete TV, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.